Bonjour people and welcome back to another review. This time we are looking at Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Class Breakaway, a character who only existed in the tie-in game, specifically the versions that were released on the Xbox and the PlayStation. But yeah, Breakaway here turns into an F-35 Lightning. He's a cute little thing and he looks really gorgeous. I've always had an interest in Breakaway because of the game, and I am of the opinion, as I'm sure many other people are as well, that he should have been in at least one film. Because it's not like Jolt ever did anything interesting, did he? But Breakaway, he's badass and he's an Autobot flyer. And plus, if you, according to the Dark of the Moon video game, which you can see on the channel, he is an aerial bot, and in said video that he appeared, I gushed over him. So if you want to know my general thoughts about Breakaway, I love him. It's such a cool concept and he's such a cool design as well. So this version, this is the original version of Breakaway that appeared on toy shelves. There was a variant that was released, I believe, as part of a multi-pack, but the variant has a darker shade of beige on him, which is what I'm calling this colour scheme. He's a lot darker. I don't know what the general consensus is, whether this version looks nicer or whether the redeco looks nicer. Personally, I prefer this one. It's more game accurate, I think, and I think the lighter colour it's just a more appealing look, I suppose. And then there were, I think, some other versions that were released. There was a red one, which was redecoed and had a new head, and that was called Thrust. And I seem to think there might have been a whitish silver version, but I can't remember what that one was called. But anyway, Breakaway here, he's the lighter colour scheme going all along the body. He has some pale green Cybertronian tattoos, I'm going to call them, along the wings and along the back fins as well. He has a deep brown going along here with a nice silver Autobot symbol. Now, you can actually see his head. In fact, we'll just open up cockpit. There he is. He has landing gear. This actually rolls. It's a rolling wheel, as are these little bits. Rubber nose cone here, I suppose, so you don't accidentally poke your own eye out. I mean, you could still poke your own eye out, but hey ho, it's a little safety measure they've implemented. And yeah, that's his jet mode. It looks really nice. Really, really nice. So, with that said and done, I suppose we should get on with transforming him. Now, let's think where to start. I'm going to begin by unclipping the legs from the underside. I should also point out that there's hardly any visible robot junk on him. I mean, you can see what the legs are, but that's it. And the head also is in the cockpit. But anyway, bring down the legs. We're going to fold out the feet, like so. We're going to come to the backs of the legs, and we're just going to fold these grey bits out a bit. Like that. We're just going to bring out the heels. And then bring those bits forward a bit to kind of give him that classic movie chicken leg look. And now you have Breakaway in his Gerwalk mode. I don't understand what the Gerwalk thing is with Transformers. I think it might have been a G1 thing, but hey, that's a meme thing, apparently. Moving on, because that's not an official mode by any means. We're going to come up here and we're just going to split that off. We're going to bring all of this up and away. We're going to take the body of the plane and basically split it all in half and reach. Oh! No, that's not happened before. Don't do what I just did there. So, you want to be having these rings, get them all the way out of the way before you try separating this, so you've actually got clearance and you don't accidentally pop his arms off. With that out of the way, now you can bring these all the way out. Fortunately, if you do pop it off, it's just a simple tab back in, nothing's damaged, we're all okay. So it looks a bit of a mess at the minute, but it will clean up really nicely. You want to be just bringing that back. Now, the thing that does slightly concern me just about the design in general, And I'm going to focus in on this, hopefully. But you can see here this little green peg. And this is kind of like the fulcrum of everything. This is what holds the entire back section to the robot mode, and it helps tab it all into jet mode as well. Now, on first glance, I thought it was just soft rubber, and I was astounded at how a soft rubber hook could hold this hard plastic bit here. It's actually not. It is firm, solid plastic, but it's such a tiny, weedy little thing that I am very conscious of it maybe breaking one day, because to unclip that, you have to really snap past it, and vice versa as well, and it's not a good feeling. So be wary. If you have a breakaway, just be wary of that. So put all of that over his shoulders. We're going to come to the back, and we're just going to make sure that all of this is up flush. And about that hook again, you can see that it is now nicely hooked over that little grey bit there. Come to the nose cone, and if you haven't already, just push that down a bit so you've got this clear separation here. Then take the wings and just fold them back. At the same time, bring the tail fins up like that. Unfortunately, the wings don't exactly tab into anything, they just sit there. And then finally, open up the cockpit, as I did before, to reveal his head. Now, in theory, that's Breakaway. I'm just going to neat him up off camera, and then we shall come back. So there's Breakaway, fully transformed in robot mode. I love his design. I really do. Ever since the Revenge of the Fallen game, I've just thought that Breakaway is just such an abnormal Autobot, because you don't see many flyers unless you're an aerial bot. But it's so unique because of the way that he transforms and just his general design of how the main body of the plane is kind of smushed into the majority of his torso, and how his nose cone sticks out from his chest like that. It's so unique, and I think that this is probably the only version of Breakaway, or at least this conception of the character, that actually exists. I don't think he's actually been in anything else. If somebody can actually fact check that, I'd be much appreciated. But bring this guy back. He's so unique and so cool. The only little downside I have about it, he's a bugger to stand up. Just trying to get the legs formatted correctly, you're meant to bring these green pieces out forward, so it's not folded in as it would be for jet mode, and it just creates a bit of an imbalance, because as you can probably guess, he's very back heavy because of all this kibble. Look, you can see he's just going to topple over. As you can hopefully see here, we've lost a bit of light, but there's his head poking out of the cockpit, just like that. Now, because of the way he's designed, despite his head, I believe it's actually on a ball joint, and in theory he can look right and left and do some swivel with it. Because of all of this junk everywhere and just the way he is designed, you can't really do anything with him. What you can do, though, is as you're transforming him, if you get something like a screwdriver or tweezers or something really thin, and you poke it up underneath his head, you can actually push his head up a bit more, so he's not looking up as much as he would be otherwise. The other downside about it is that he actually does have light piping, but because of how he's designed, I'm not sure I'll be able to show it off, but I'll give it a go. Yeah, as you can probably assess, this isn't going to quite work because it's all being blocked. Assessing its colour scheme, that light beige continues all throughout. Grey accents appear more commonly over him as part of his robot aesthetic is revealed. Grey feet with green accents are appearing. On his right arm here, you can see from this is his Mechalive gimmick, which was the main thing that Revenge of the Fallen had going for it. It's a bit of a naff thing, really, but in theory what you're going to do is be able to rotate, well, you rotate his cannon and then you see the gears turning in his upper arm. It's, yeah, I don't know what the point of Mechalive was. It was a bit naff, to be honest. In terms of articulation, obviously his head is hindered, but in theory you can turn it. He can move his arms up and down about that far before they're blocked by the wing. He has elbow articulation, and then he can also do a 360 at the elbow because of the I want to say that's a mushroom peg, but that just might be more Mechalife gimmickry there. He has nothing at the wrists. He does actually have waist articulation, but because of the way that the hook keeps everything together, you actually can't utilise it. If you were to unhook him, then he would actually have quite a nice waist swivel. At the leg, I'm very cautious about showing the leg articulation just because of how much of a bugger he is to stand. But you can split him about that far. You can back that far of the leg, up that far of the leg. He has knee articulation and he's got a bit of heel pivot. But apart from that, that is Breakaway. So he's not the most articulated figure in the world, and it's all really to do with all the kibble that he has everywhere. We'll do a quick size comparison. Here he is next to Kingdom Cyclonus, who's a Voyager class. And you can see how well they scale together. Here he is next to Universe Acid Storm, who is a repaint of the classic Starscream mould. And here he is next to the original Windblade, who is also a bugger to stand up. I'd say that she's probably more difficult than Breakaway to stand up, because at least Breakaway has big feet. Windblade suffers from not only having extraordinarily big back kibble, but also heels that do not lock into place. So there we are then, Revenge of the Fallen Breakaway. I like him. I do. I think his design is so unique, and therefore for that reason alone he is worth having on the shelf. But his transformation sequence is also quite interesting, albeit very simple. But I think sometimes simplicity is better. Yeah, he's not the most articulated figure in the world, and he has a lot of outrageous kibble, but that is just part of his unique design, and I think it's part of his charm. So I would still recommend him. He is very rare and very difficult to get now. I was lucky to find this guy. I paid a bit more than I probably should have for him, but I'd say it's worth it for him. But yeah, that's Breakaway. So thank you everybody so much for stopping by and checking out this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share it around to help out the channel. And until the next time, I will see you all much later.